All right. Welcome to the Dean Arnold Podcast. It is August 4th, and we are getting into it today. We're going to have some fun. Yesterday was one of them serious podcasts, overcoming pornography. Nobody wants to talk about it, but someone's got to talk about it, and I did, and I think we did it successfully. But that's an intense subject, kind of, wouldn't you say? So today we're going to do something a little more lighthearted. I'm going to talk about a comedy review show I concocted back in my college days that was a lot of fun. I'm kind of proud of. A long time ago now, and it's not nearly on the front of the brain like it used to be. But it's worth talking about. And I think you want a congressman who's got a sense of humor and enjoys all of life, not just all that serious stuff. So we're going to talk about it today. I'm running for Congress. Vote for me in November. You can write me in 2 days on Thursday. The Republican primary is there. I won't be on the ballot. You can write me in, but November 3rd, even if you write me in, it doesn't matter. You can vote for me because I'll be on the ballot as an independent November 3rd. I've got 3 or 4 donors now. DeanArnoldForCongress.com. I'm bringing sanity to an insane world. This comedy review show, I'll show you. It's got a little bit of insanity, but it's the right kind of insanity, not the wrong kind of insanity. So I'll bring sane insanity to an insane world. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you. Let's comments and questions welcome. Come on in. Let's get to the scripture of the day. This will be good. Saint of the day is particularly interesting. All right, 1 Corinthians 15, starting verse 29. Very strange verse. Are you ready? Otherwise, what will they do who are baptized for the dead, if the dead do not rise at all? Why then are they baptized for the dead? So Paul's got this argument going on in 1 Corinthians 15 about the resurrection and how important the resurrection is. And if you don't believe in the resurrection, it's all for naught. It's, you've got to believe in the resurrection. And then he says, otherwise, what about those who are baptized for the dead, if the dead do not rise at all? Why then are they baptized for the dead? If there's no resurrection, there's no point in doing baptism for the dead. Okay, baptism for the dead. Now, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Well, guess who's really into the baptism for the dead? The Mormons. Big part of the Mormon faith is baptism for the dead. And it's a benefit to me, crazy enough, because I'm into genealogy and family history. And because of the Mormons are huge into genealogy and family history. They're tracking down all their ancestors to baptize them. Get them baptized in proxy. And because of that, they got to track it down and do the research and find the records. And then it gets on to Ancestry.com. And the next thing you know, I'm the beneficiary of wacko Mormons. So nice. But what does this mean? If you're a normal Orthodox Christian or Orthodox with a small o Protestant or a Catholic, what does this mean, baptism for the dead? Because it's right there. It says baptism for the dead. Does it not? It says what it means what it says. Well, once again, we can be thankful that the Orthodox Church is interpreting this for you, and you're not interpreting it for yourself, because as smart as you think you are dumb in comparison to the Church Fathers. What does this mean? Well, actually, the Orthodox Church isn't quite sure what it means. It's disputed as to what this actually means, but it doesn't mean actually going and chasing down your ancestors and baptizing them in proxy. There's one school of thought that says this means catechumens, people who in the Orthodox Church, you become a catechumen first. It takes a couple of 3 months, and then you have this prayer over you where you're going to become a catechumen for like a year. We're going to see how you're doing, and are you really serious about this? And if you are, then we're going to have this like hour and a half long baptism service. That's a big deal. But what if you're a catechumen And during your year or whatever of catechumenate, you die. You don't get to get baptized. Well, there's a school of thought within Orthodoxy that that's what this is talking about, that there's people who stand in terms of baptism for the dead, for those who are catechumens but didn't make it to the finish line. Okay, that's cool. Not everybody believes that. Others, like John Chrysostom, believe that Paul is actually being sarcastic and making fun of heretics like Marcionites and Gnostics who do this practice. And so he's saying, hey, the resurrection is really, really important. You know, you can't have a Christian faith without the resurrection. And by the way, all these people who are baptized for the dead, why do you do that if the dead don't rise? Why are they baptized for the dead if there's no resurrection? So he's just trying to slip in a little argument against, Paul's trying to slip in some arguments against some of his theological enemies there. Oh, that's fine. Either way, we're not supposed to do like the Mormons and go chase down our ancestors and baptize them in proxy. So there you go. Be Orthodox. Don't be a Mormon. Scrolling down, it's a long passage. Verse 32 is another little mention. If in the manner of men I have fought with beasts at Ephesus, what advantage is it to me? If the dead do not rise, let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. So Paul's trying to argue for the resurrection, and he's saying, you know, I've fought with beasts at Ephesus, so what advantage it is to me if the dead don't rise? Well, generally the Orthodox Church interprets this not as that Paul was in the arena with beasts, but that the beasts are, again, the theological heretics who are trying to devour Paul and the gospel with their false teachings, beasts in Ephesus. But since the overall argument is about rising from the dead, it would also make sense that he's talking about possibly eaten by real beasts. But that's just my thought. That is not the church's teaching. Then he just gets into a whole thing of, you know, the usual argument of, how in the world can you raise the dead if people have turned into dust, or if they got eaten by alligators or lions? You know, I mean, it's like we can't really. Well, the creator of all can recreate anything, so that's ultimately a dumb argument. But Paul is addressing it here, and he says all you need is one little seed. He says what we're going to become, we just don't know, because all God is going to take one little seed of who we are, and more importantly, who we have become in terms of being transfigured into holy and righteous people, or evil and wicked people. That'll grow into some monstrous beast, but we'll grow into some great big, large, wonderful thing, because it's just a seed. It kind of reminds me, you remember the I think it's Terminator 2 movie where, they would completely smash the Terminator robot, but if there was just one little teeny bit of the robot left, it could recreate itself back into what it was. It kind of reminds me of that. All right, saint of the day. All right, hold on to your hats. This is a fun one. A little bit different, lot big different. This is one of those ones where I have fun with charismatics and Pentecostals who think they're so big into the supernatural and believing in miracles. Do you believe in miracles like this? The 7 holy youths, the 7 sleepers of Ephesus. Okay. So these 7 kids, Maximilian, Iamblichus, Martinian, John, Dionysius, Constantine, and Antoninus. Maximilian was like the mayor's son. Okay. And all these guys are kids of the nobility, the rich kids. So these 7 rich kids are running around in the 2nd century under Emperor Decius, who was persecuting Christians. And Decius arrived in their town in Ephesus, and he wanted everybody to sacrifice the pagan gods. Torture and death awaited anyone who disobeyed. And these 7 youths, they were ready. And when they confessed Christ, their military belts and insignia, since they were kind of more royalty, were taken from them. Decius permitted them to go free, however, hoping that they would change their minds while he was off on a military campaign. Instead, the youths fled the city and hid in a cave where they passed their time in prayer, preparing for martyrdom. And one of them, the youngest, Saint Iamblichus, dressed as a beggar, went into the city to buy bread. And he heard that the emperor had returned and was looking for them. And so he urged his companions to come out of the cave, but they all decided not to do that. Well, actually, I guess they were considering exactly what to do. But when the emperor learned where they were, he ordered that the entrance of the cave be sealed up with stones, and so the saints would perish from hunger and thirst. But two of the dignitaries who did that were secret Christians, and so they, where the cave was sealed, they placed 2 containers with 2 metal plaques with the names of the youths on them and the details of their suffering. Here we go. The Lord placed the youths into a miraculous sleep lasting almost 2 centuries. So these wonderful young men, I imagine they're teenagers, they sleep for 200 years. So now it's the reign of the Holy Emperor Theodosius the Younger. Who was in a time when their big theological opponent was the people who opposed the resurrection of the dead, didn't believe in the resurrection of the dead, like that passage we just saw with Paul. Anyway, the kids woke up 200 years later. And so they sent Iamblichus down into town to get him some bread. And when he pays for the bread, he gives them a coin that's got Emperor Decius on it, which is from 200 years ago. The merchants are kind of confused by it. They take it to the authorities. The authorities arrest them because they're thinking, hey, somebody's got a hoard of money, all this 200 years old stuff. And, when you're messing with money and the wrong currency and that kind of stuff, the authorities suddenly get very interested in it. And the city administrator heard him out. He also happened to be the bishop, and he was bewildered by all the answers of this young man. And he finally decided that there was some mystery going on in the spirit, some miracle that God was doing, and he was right. So the emperor himself went up and spoke with the young men in the cave. And they confirmed all this stuff. Then they fell asleep again, and this time for good. So they died. And the emperor wanted to place each of them into a jeweled coffin, but they appeared to him in a dream and said, no, just leave us as we are in the cave. And in the 12th century, a Russian pilgrim, Igumen Daniel, saw the holy relics of the 7 youths in the cave. Okay. The 7 holy sleepers. It's a story we're very familiar with in the Orthodox Church. It's actually on the calendar twice. And it's the craziest story. So when I talk to my charismatic and Pentecostal friends about, do you believe in miracles? I'm like, hey, here's one. Let me tell you about this one. You believe in this? Because I do. But it's a crazy story. Yeah, it is. If Joshua can tell the sun to stand still for 24 hours, I guess the Holy Spirit can cause 7 very righteous, godly youths to sleep for 200 years and avoid torture and execution. There you go. The 7 holy sleepers. Love that story. Okay. Topic of the day. Late Night at Covenant. This was a comedy review show that I put together when I was in college. Why we're going to talk about it? Well, one, I was looking for some lighthearted content for today after yesterday's intense content. Secondly, if you want someone in Congress, you want someone who's not just, serious all the time. You want him to, have a sense of humor, kind of be a full-orbed human being, which I am. I got some comedy going on here. We're going to talk about the comedy. So I'm in college, and I'm in part of a group of guys, mostly in my hall, who are extraordinarily talented. they're all, making six figures now and doing incredible things. But back then they were funny, they were smart, they were talented, they could sing and dance, and give each other a hard time and laugh and scheme late into the night. Pranks, I've told you about those. But they were really good comedians. I mean, several of them could have been on Saturday Night Live without any problem. Just very extraordinarily good at that. Well, I had been appointed to direct plays my junior and senior year in college. I directed plays in high school. I won Best Actor. I wasn't that good of an actor, but compared to the grading on the curve, I guess I got Best Actor one year. But then I was appointed to direct plays in college, and I was pretty good at directing. I like that better than acting. And at the same time, there was a talent show a couple of years in a row that we did, that two of my buddies, sort of kind of from the go, not really from my hall, but two of my buddies, Hal and Phil, would host the talent show, and they were really funny. They were really funny hosting the talent show together. So I thought, let me get all these other guys that are friends of mine that are such great comedians and can do skits and all that kind of stuff. Let me get Phil and Hal to host this thing. Let's bring up a band. Let's do some crazy things in the streets, which used to be kind of a thing to do with comedy back with Jay Leno and David Letterman and all that kind of stuff. And having trouble streaming to Facebook, it says, and I'm very sorry to hear that. I don't know what to do about it. Meanwhile, we'll just look at comments. Yeah, that's what it said. My live stream quit. I don't know how to solve it. And I'm sorry about that. I would suggest you go to Twitter or YouTube, and I should be live streaming there. But Facebook has decided to get funky. Edit. Remove this? No. Sorry, guys. These things happen. I don't know why. We are subject to the technology of our day. So I decided to put together a comedy show. Here I am, I'm picking plays that we're going to do at this college. And so I decided I'd put together a comedy review show. We called it Late Night at Covenant. It was sort of Monty Python. It was sort of Saturday Night Live. It was sort of David Letterman, man on the street doing crazy stuff. We put it all together in a stew, and it was a great success. I had a lot of fun with it. Let me show you the first video that I want to show you that kind of gives you a sense of this. Let me bring it up. There we go. This gives you a sense of kind of it was kind of a live show. You had a band, and we bring in some video on the stage. I'll show you a skit that was on the actual stage in a minute. But here's one. There was a guy, most of you don't know anymore, unfortunately, but there was like the most famous guy in Chattanooga, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, was a guy named Dan Martino. He was a street preacher. He was absolute nut. But he would street preach, run all over the streets holding crazy signs. And everybody knew who he was. And he was a very, very serious guy. And I had known Dan just a little bit. So I concocted this way to introduce Late Night at Covenant. So why don't you watch this and let's see how it goes.
Street preacher Dan Martino. Dan, how you doing? Great. Dan Martino is the man who was at the Democratic convention holding a sign that said, "God is a Republican." Isn't that right, Dan? That's what I thought. A lot of positive and negative things, I guess, are said about Dan, but darn it, we feel like he's doing a heck of a job, and so we're excited about it, Dan. We appreciate you. Dan, do you have anything at all to say to us? Live from Lookout Mountain, it's Late Night at Covenant.
Okay, there you go. So that's the Late Night at Covenant intro that we did one year with the street preacher Dan Martini. We got him to be part of the fun. Stop being so serious all the time. All right, so late night at Covenant. I'll show you one little skit that was on the stage. Can I find it? Yeah. Yeah, I think I need to. Yeah, I could. Let me just get in the habit of doing this. This may take a little while, but I'm going to get it. Okay, here we go. So here's a skit that was on the stage. I'm not going to play it for very long. All right, I'm just showing you that to get you a sense of the skits on the stage. The audio there is not very good, but you know, in college back then, there was always this craze of everybody shaving their head, and so we decided to do a skit where he actually shaves someone's head live on the stage. The actor there is a guy named Steve Smallman, who's extremely funny. I got several other skits of him, but the audio is so bad I couldn't show it, unfortunately. But anyway, that's an example of a skit. Also, we ran around the streets of Chattanooga, but also around the streets of New York. So Phil and Hal, there they are with the Twin Towers behind them, back when there were Twin Towers. And they would start all their street antics, you know, being in front of the World Trade Center like that, and then they go around and talk to people and be kind of funny. So there you go. But that is the New York situation. Bad audio, so it's hard to share that. Let me share a little bit of Phil and Hal with where we have good audio. Yeah, here we go. Here they have good audio. It's a promo for Late Night at Covenant. I'll play just a few seconds of this.
You gonna come to the show? You gonna come to the show, Hal?
I'll be there, Phil. Okay. Yeah, Covenant College is kind of a place that time forgot. A place that time forgot.
You know what I mean? Hey, Vern.
Hey, Vern.
All right, that's it. Just a bunch of nuts. And I'll play you one more that I think is kind of funny. There used to be a restaurant in Chattanooga called Choo Choo Hot Fish. And it's not there anymore, I don't think. And I gotta find it. Oh, come on now. It's supposed to be up. I'm gonna have to do this. I have to do a little search. Bear with me. There it is. Okay. Now, there it is. Thank you for bearing with me. Here we go. This is another one. I'll play this a little longer. So they did this is in downtown Chattanooga, a little dive called Choo Choo Hot Fish. So they decided to have some fun with it.
If you're looking for seafood in the area, one of the finest places to get it is Choo Choo Hot Fish.
Not fresh fish, not good fish, hot fish.
The way they do it is not just to fry it. No, it's a method they use that originated in China. It originated in the Ming Dynasty in the early 1200s. They stir fry the fish, so it's hot fish, not fried fish.
Huh? Are you sure about that?
No, I'm completely making all this up. Let's go in and ask what the real story is.
Okay.
All right, there you go. More goofiness from these guys. I should bring up and mention the fact that we were doing this in like 1986, 85. There were no cell phones. There were no video cameras. If you're going to do something like we're doing here, you had to go to some rental shop and pay like $2,000 for a week to rent a camera and microphones to do TV-esque kind of stuff. So we were cutting edge. It looks very non-cutting edge to you. I understand that, but we were all the rage back when we were doing this. So that's the technology factor here. Let's talk about let's look at one more. This is a skit. Gus Diamond was the creator of this, college buddy, and this was a commercial gag that we did that was pretty good. So this is worth watching. Let's do this. Here we go. Ready?
This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. This is your brain on drugs with bacon. This is your brain on drugs with bacon and hash browns.
Oh, so that goes on and on, adding more to the breakfast thing. And you can hear it, it's played in front of a live audience, so you could hear the stuff. So that was a pretty funny skit that we did. The show is almost stopped. Let me tell that story real quick. So there was kind of a girl, a student who was sort of a, one of those types that had the purse strings for our show. And like a week before we're supposed to do the show, she tells me we have to shut it down. I'm like, why we got to shut it down? She says, well, you're doing it at night, 11:30 at night on Saturday night. And we have a Sabbath rule at Covenant where you can't do a lot of things on Sundays. And if you start at 11:30, it's going to go into the Sabbath, like 1:00 on Sunday morning. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're telling me this late. This is a stupid idea anyway. And I was really upset. And I went back to her and I kind of read her the riot act. And then I said, we'll do 2 shows. We'll do one Friday at 11:30 and we'll do one Sunday at 10:00 at night, so it doesn't go into the Sabbath. And she didn't have any technical reasons to foil it. I think she just wanted to foil it, just to be that kind of a person. But we were able to have the show anyway because God cares about comedy. So a takeaway on the whole late night at Covenant thing, I did it 3 years. I did it my junior year, my senior year, and then like 5 years later when I came back to Chattanooga, I rounded up another crew of really funny comedian types, and we did another show. Those comedians, I'll mention their names: Steve Smallman, Chad Hafer, Al Dehart actually did some good skits, Grandy Streets, Jonathan Brown, Ed Sunder, Dave Bird, Gus Diamond. Anyway, there's a bunch of old college friends. I'm missing a few, and I'm so sorry. But these guys were funny, and they wrote their own stuff as well. So pretty glad to have had that experience with them. If you want a creative problem solver in DC who thinks out of the box, you want me. So send me to Congress. Questions appreciated. Comments appreciated. Like, share, subscribe. I'm bringing sanity to an insane world. I'm bringing the proper insanity to an improperly insane world. And glad to do it. I think I've shared everything that I want to say. Today is August the 4th. And we're going to head on out of here. Sorry, Facebook people. Something happened with the stream, but I think it's okay with YouTube and Twitch and X. And I'll be posting it on Facebook in a minute so you can watch it, but you just won't be watching it live. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. We are headed out, and it's been another good session.
Dean Arnold.